was when the meeting was over, a lot of people would go and connect with each other. Somebody across the room had a service or an offering that somebody on the other side of the room needed for themselves or a client, and we're not able to do that meaningfully over Zoom. I expect that we're going to get a significant drop off in attendance when we go from Zoom to meeting in person, because it's much easier just to connect with a meeting on Zoom rather than to trek all the way down to 3rd and North. But the strength of the Reentry Council are the human relationships that we have. So I'm giving you a month's notice. I'd be very grateful to see as many of you in person on Wednesday, the 28th of June at 3rd and North as possible, so that we can continue to, the institutional relationships follow human relationships. So as we get to know each other better and work together, that's the strength of the Reentry collaboration that we're all part of. So I just want to give you some notice. Anybody else who's new to the Milwaukee Reentry Council who'd like to introduce themselves? At this stage in the agenda, we have new people introduce themselves, who they are and where they're from. Okay. All right, well, we can get started. I want to be respectful of time. So the first item on the agenda is a presentation on eviction prevention and eviction diversion project. And we're grateful to have Megan Wynn here, who's the Executive Eviction Diversion Court Coordinator at Milwaukee County. So Megan, thanks for being with us, and we appreciate to learn the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. Hold on just one second here. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Is this working?
Yes.
Okay, great. So as Connor said, I am the Eviction Diversion Court Coordinator for Milwaukee County. My job is housed in the Milwaukee Justice Center, which is the for people who need legal information or assistance and do not have a lawyer. So I am in the ground floor of the courthouse. This is a new role that is funded by a 2-year grant from the National Center for State Courts to coordinate eviction diversion efforts. Some projects across the country are court-based, some are court-based, but this first cohort is funding 12 locations across the country to pilot eviction diversion efforts and to develop best practices of what's working in the field. So Milwaukee is part of a cohort that includes Alaska, which is actually doing a statewide project, Nevada, Kansas, Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, New York, and also Washington, D.C. So we are working together as a group. We meet monthly to talk about what we're doing, data on eviction cases to get a better understanding of how courts are operating across the country and whether there are certain practices that are helpful in preventing eviction judgments from happening. So the main goals of this effort are to help landlords and tenants avoid preventable evictions by connecting people to resources as early as possible. This is done through providing service referrals, giving people information about eviction court and alternatives to eviction case filings, and increasing self-help resources for people who are involved in eviction court and do not have a lawyer representing them. So another piece of this is for cases that can't be avoided, really making the court process easier for people to navigate once they are there. So just a little background on how this grant came about. About 2 years ago, the chief judge at the time convened a housing consortium in response to the eviction moratorium. And that group includes judges, commissioners, the clerk's office, landlord and tenant advocates, mediators, and some housing service providers and other social service providers. And so during that 2-year process, the group has kind of created a shared vision for eviction prevention and diversion, which is really focusing first on outreach, education, and prevention, using mediation as an alternative to court whenever possible. And then for those cases that can't really stay out of court, using a problem-solving court approach. So using the courts as a way to connect people to resources if they were not able to access those before they got to court. Ideally, this would result in having fewer eviction cases and the courts being able to spend more time handling complex cases when needed. So there are several different intervention points where people can connect to resources and work things out before cases get to an eviction judgment. Once someone has an eviction case and they have a money judgment associated with that eviction case, that case can stay on CCAP for 20 years. And so that's going to impact people's ability to find future housing. It's going to reflect on their rental history. So there's a huge incentive for people to try to prevent that eviction judgment from happening, right? And so people can access resources as soon as someone is behind on rent or a notice is given. So before a court case is filed, we work with the Rental Housing Resource Center to help connect landlords and tenants to financial resources, including, rent assistance. Once a person receives a notice to pay rent, fix a problem, or move out, we work with Mediate Milwaukee to connect people to mediation to try to come to a resolution outside of court. And one thing about mediation is I'm finding in talking to landlords and tenants, a lot of times these issues are complex. They're not very straightforward. They're not just about rent owed. There's other communication challenges or repairs not being made. And so mediation really can be a more flexible and individualized way for people to resolve issues. So trying to make sure that people know that that resource is available. And then once a case is filed, people can reach out to me and I can try to help connect them to resources they might have missed before the filing occurs. So figuring out whether they've, applied for rent assistance, whether they're aware of mediation, and if they need connections to other social services. So eviction diversion, at least in the Milwaukee Justice Center, is for both landlords and tenants. If people have general questions about eviction court, I provide information there. Right now, Eviction Free MKE is offering representation to income eligible tenants, so helping people connect to attorneys if they are eligible for that. I also meet with landlords and tenants weekly at the courthouse through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic, which provides free civil legal advice to people regardless of income. And at that clinic, people can get help with court forms, getting information about how to prepare for certain hearings, and getting referrals to other legal services for people that might need more ongoing assistance. Not everyone really knows what to do when they receive a notice or a court summons. So the chief judge recently issued a directive, which will start June 15th. And once that goes into place, anytime a landlord is suing a tenant for eviction, they will be providing that tenant with a resource sheet that gives information about rental assistance, mediation, the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic, and Eviction Free MKE. It also provides my information if people just have questions and aren't sure, okay, what do I need and where do I start to get connected to resources? So part of my role is helping people who end up in the court system connect to resources, and also to figure out where the information gaps are in court and look at solutions to improving the court process for people. So in terms of the benefits of trying to divert evictions, it really can benefit everyone. The court process can, it costs money, it takes time. The court really is only going to make decisions about who gets the property and how much money is owed and who the money is owed to. And like I said before, a lot of times landlord-tenant relationships can be complex and there's a lot going on. So people doing things through mediation can sometimes help, not only prevent that filing on CCAP, but include things like communication plans and other ways that people can resolve their issues, and also prevent the negative effects of an eviction, which will impact, people's ability to find future housing. So I know you all in reentry work are well aware of how court records can impact people. So one of the main goals is really to get to prevention as much as possible. But for those that are in the court process, if people are able to get their eviction dismissed, that will come off CCAP in a 2-year period. And people also can request have their name sealed from the court record as well if the case is dismissed. So part of what we're working on now is to try to make that process easier for people to make those requests. So in terms of next steps and what we're working on right now, first court dates for evictions are 100% on Zoom. Advantages to that are that more people, can easily dial into court, but the wait times are pretty long. Those eviction decisions can be made at that first hearing, and lots of people have issues with technology, or sometimes they want to try to bring evidence into court and they can't really do that on the phone or on Zoom. And so we are trying to figure out a way for people to be able to come back in person to participate and have that option. We've definitely had people show up at the courthouse instead of online, and then they're sort of scrambling to figure out how to get to their hearing in time. And one of the other challenges in terms of doing outreach is it can be hard to reach people facing eviction. Documents that are filed with the court really only include people's mailing address. So right now we haven't had the ability to do things like, text reminders for court and other ways to engage people. So currently the Milwaukee Justice Center is working on starting an AmeriCorps Court Navigator program. That will have AmeriCorps workers just helping people who come to the courthouse figure out how and where to go to get things filed, where they need to go for court. So I'll be working with those folks to specifically focus on people that are in eviction court. We are also looking at modifying the way cases are scheduled so that people hopefully don't have to wait for a court hearing for 2 hours because they're scheduled in large batches right now. And as I mentioned before, we've got a small work group looking at improving the process for people to request to have their name sealed from an eviction case if it was dismissed, so they don't have to wait that full 2-year period for it to come off CCAP. One of the biggest challenges that we have right now is there's just a significant shortage of affordable rental housing. And so that can lead to more stringent screening practices that can make it difficult to find housing. So really, we're focusing pretty heavily on not only trying to respond to people who are at risk of eviction and facing eviction, but preventing future evictions as well. And if you have any questions or need anything, I just put my contact information up here, but I think it's on the agenda too. So thanks.
Thank you, Megan. Any questions for Megan? So Megan, you mentioned that you're in the ground floor of the courthouse. What are the hours of, can people walk in, and what are the hours?
Sure. So the Justice Center is open Monday through Friday, and the Justice Center really works with people can come for all kinds of legal issues. And so I'm pretty much here every day. People walk in. They also can get to me on the Milwaukee Justice Center website. There's an intake for landlords and an intake for tenants. So people can fill that out, and I can just follow up with them that way as well. But if people, there are some people who come to court for in-person hearings, so sometimes they'll just walk down and see me that way. The Justice Center also provides a lot of assistance for people. They have various clinics to help people with family forms. So if people are handling child support issues or divorce issues or other sort of civil legal aid needs, there are some walk-in services, and then there's also some appointments that people can make depending on their particular needs. And the Justice Center also offers a civil legal helpline. So if people just have general civil legal questions that are, they could be landlord tenant, it could be beyond that. There's about 3 hours a day that the civil legal helpline is open, and they will take, live calls from people as well. So sometimes people can get directed to me that way too.
Can you put the Justice Center website address in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. And the walk-in hours down on the ground floor would be.
So that's it's usually open 8:30 to 4:30.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Anybody have questions for Megan about the good services that the Milwaukee Justice Center offers? Ella?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentation. Excuse me, Megan. Do you collaborate with Legal Action of Wisconsin? I know they do assist with rental issues.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been working with the Rental Housing Resource Center, which includes I think 8 or 9 organizations, and Legal Action is definitely a part of that. Yes.
So if they have a case, do you assist with cases that they have, or do you leave it entirely with them if they are taking on a case?
Yeah, so my role is a little bit more of like triage and kind of connecting people to places like Legal Action. So it's more of that way. I would say, yeah, there are a lot of people just end up in the courthouse and they're not sure exactly what they need. So in a lot of ways, I'm sort of the first stop of figuring out, okay, have you already talked to anybody? And if not, here are some places that you can connect to. So.
Any other questions for Megan? One last thing is, you mentioned that your services are available to both landlords and tenants. So if a landlord is having some challenges with the tenant, they can reach out to you also.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I've found a lot of landlords aren't necessarily aware of like the mediation option in particular. So I've certainly helped people get connected to that and send them just general information depending on their needs. And landlords also come pretty frequently to the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic, which is at the Justice Center on Thursday mornings, but it's also at House of Peace on Tuesdays and at United Community Center on Wednesdays as well.
Very good. Well, thank you for your good work, Megan. And we appreciate to learn about the good services that you provide. And I'll do a follow-up email with the Justice Center's email address is our website address is in the chat, but I'll also send that out. And if there's a flyer that you have, Megan, about the services, I'd appreciate to receive that. We'll send it out to the group.
Sure, thank you.
Great. And you're welcome. I appreciate you presenting today, but you're welcome around this table. We generally meet on the 4th Wednesday of each month, so we appreciate to have you with us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is we're going to break out into smaller groups for 15 minutes and share our stories with each other by why we are engaged in reentry work. And the goal is to get to know each other and to build relationships. So appreciate Alyssa and Mandy breaking us into smaller groups. And when we're in our smaller groups, affording enough time for each person to share, I appreciate that. So, Alyssa, if you can help us get organized into small groups, we'd appreciate it. Or Mandy.
So I don't see the ability for me to do that. I think that's something Mandy has to do. And I think she might be having connectivity issues right now.
Okay, so why don't we wait till Mandy is back online and we can just go on to the next item. We'll do the smaller breakout groups a little bit later here. Appreciate to have Captain Brandon Hutchins from the Milwaukee County Community Reintegration Center, which used to be called the House of Corrections, with us today. And there was a very good article recently in Milwaukee Neighborhood News Service about the extensive programming that is available to men and women who are in the Community Reintegration Center. And we invited Captain Hutchins to give us an overview of the programming that's available out at the Community Reintegration Center. So welcome, Captain Hutchins.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. Connor, I would like to start off. I sent you a document for you to have. Basically, the last 30 days, we've been very, very, very busy. As you know, Chantel, Jewel, the superintendent, is really a forward thinker in programming and just really trying to change the dynamics of the things that we're doing here. She was on vacation and she told my supervisor, Mr. Dodd, she wanted a reentry reentry week event. And so we actually turned it into a full week event. And what we did was we brought together a lot of the people that we deal with as far as employment, people with housing, just a bunch of different opportunities for our residents. So on that Tuesday, April 25th, we actually had an all-day event for all of our residents here at CRC. And it really turned out to be something that was really, really advantageous for our residents, because as you can see in the numbers, we had 96 residents participate. We had different people from the community here. And then the following day after that, we have a partnership with the Bucks. So it's very meaningful for us to create partnerships with partners that's actually going to be in the community where our residents will be returning back to. So we know it'll be pretty easier for some of our residents to get to the Visor Forum. So we created a partnership with them, and they actually came in the following day and hosted an event where we had over 71 residents participate in some of the opportunities that they have, and that they want to look forward to in the future. As you know, with the course being behind, it's kind of hard to find census residents that's going to be here a long time to be able to make it through those longer cohorts. And the day after that, which I believe was Thursday, we hosted a panel event with the county executive came in, Andre Lee Ellis, some other community members such as Ray Nitty and Von Mays, and our moderator was James Krause from the Journal Sentinel, and just talk to the men and women basically about, you know, things that's going on, where they came from, what some of the struggles are. And they actually had some breakout sessions where their individuals were actually kind of like a one-on-one with the executive and other members of the panel. And Friday, we've been working with Supervisor Taylor on a lot of her events on the outside as far as pardons and expungements. So we were like, why not bring it here? We have a majority of our residents that are pretrial, right? So what we did was we partnered with her, and she brought in a lot of individuals that wanted to speak, such as Mr. Hennings, Von Mays came back again, and just kind of talk about the process, the steps, you know, some of the obstacles regarding getting the ball rolling as far as pardons and expungements. Turned out to be a really, really, really great event, and we're looking forward to probably doing that again. We're looking at probably doing that sometime quarterly. And after that, we had Supervisor Cogs Jones reach out to us to help with a community cleanup event. So we were out in the rain. We weren't out there long. We kind of made it out there till around 11:30. And we helped, you know, clean up the community. You know, one of the things is we want to be a vital partner in the community and kind of help out as we can. So myself and Mr. Dodd and a few of my residents that are on Uber came out and actually kind of helped us kind of clean up going up North Avenue. So that was a really cool event. I like to get out of the office as much as I possibly can, right? May 4th, we had an event which a part of our ARPA grant. We have a grant where actually our students will actually receive OSHA training, English courses, and we actually have a full welding site that's almost ready to go. So our residents will actually have welding certificates. They're trained by MATC instructors. That's going to be very vital with them re-entering the community and having jobs. As you can see, with the OSHA certification goes hand in hand with being on site, and they actually were trained on AED, CPR, and Narcan. So that was a part of the OSHA 30 class. And actually Bob, the instructor down there on the right hand next to me, he's been doing this with MATC for over 30 years. So we kind of highlighted him because it was the last day and he was retiring. So that's one of the reasons why we got him in the photo. So he got kind of emotional because he said he actually likes working with our population better because it's more meaningful work for him. And I believe the next day, May 5th, we actually had we have a partnership with Marquette, where actually our officers are a part of the Marquette program and are earning college credits for taking courses with Marquette, and our residents are earning college credits, and they actually do their classes here in CRC with students from the outside from Marquette. So the classes are actually held here at CRC. We had 6 residents that completed that course, which was a psychology class. And if you scroll down a little bit, Connor, you'll kind of see we had the dean there. We had let them bring some of their family members in. And if you look, there's a guy standing up kind of tall, a white male, him. He actually got released that Friday, and we let him come back in with his family members because he truly believes in the program, and he's going to work with us in the future to kind of help us get guys more involved in schooling with this program because he believes in it so much. So we're grateful with our partnership with Marquette, as well as MATC with the ARPA grant. And those are some of the photos with them getting their certificate. They catered food. We had their loved ones come in, just like a regular graduation, had them speak on how impactful the program was for them. That young man right there was like, he's going to continue. He actually enjoyed it. Actually, all 6 of our guys enjoyed the program, and it was a really good event. So I'm happy for that. And yesterday, our partnership with the Bucks looks like it's blooming. We successfully had 2 residents that originally it was how will Mr. Dodd say it? I think he's on the call, but when we're reaching out to people, we're not asking for monetary things such as basketballs and Bucks players come out. We want something that's really going to be impactful and going to help us. We want them to actually have jobs with livable wages, not just a wage that's helping them get by, but livable wages. So when they do leave us, that they're actually able to help provide for themselves and their family. So they had a graduation ceremony in which the 2 guys that we actually drive back and forth to the Visor Forum, and we've been doing this since January for all events, concerts, you name it. They're actually hiring them full time at the Visor Forum, and they had a really nice ceremony for them. It's a really big deal. We actually had the county executive wrote a proclamation for the residents. Of course, he was busy up in Madison, but he made sure that we delivered that for him. They got a jersey with their names on it. I'm actually having them come out to actually speak to all the judges when they come in to kind of tell how impactful the program was. One of the residents, Deontay, sent me a email today showing me his badge that he works for the city of Milwaukee, and he wants me to have all his contact information because he wants to help tell the story. You know, I can sit and talk till I'm blue in the face about all the programs I'm doing, this and that, but at the end of the day, it's about empowering the residents to tell the story so that we can kind of keep this movement going forward. So that's just what we've been doing the last 30 days. So.
Oh, that's excellent, Captain Hutchins and Assistant Superintendent Dodds. We appreciate your care and support for the people who are at the Community Reintegration Center and the blossoming of programming that's taking place down there. We're grateful for that.
And Connor, I wanted to add, because I know a lot of was about the programming that we are doing. I kind of want to just highlight the last 30 days, but what I want everyone to know is that since Ms. Jewell has been in place, she's been giving me the tools that we need to kind of move forward. So we've hired a housing navigator. We've hired a human service worker. Everyone that has more than 90 days of sentence has a full LSCMI treatment to determine their needs, to bridge the gap from when they are here to when they go back into the community. Right now, we've lost a housing navigator, but we'll be putting out a requisition sometime later today or early tomorrow in regards to that, so that, you know, one of the biggest hurdles is housing. So now we're working with getting that back out, that position back out, so we can have that person actually here at CRC. And I got about 5 pages of programming that we're doing right now. Some anything we're working with Chick-fil-A, to our partnership with Chase Bank for financial literacy. We're working with the city for driver's license recovery. I'm just scrolling through stuff and picking things off the top of my head. We have a partnership with WCTC where they're helping residents that are in a pretrial situation, kind of figuring out some things that way. And I'm probably missing a bunch of people and a bunch of things that we're doing, but yeah, they keep me busy. and keeping you busy.
That's great. Thank you for that. Any questions for Captain Hutchins or comments? Affirmations would be, hey, Brian, yeah.
I was just gonna comment that, you know, it's great when you're partnering with people like the Bucks, and then when they come through and they hire a couple of the guys, I think that speaks volumes, you know, to what we're trying to do here, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the bad news about our community makes the headlines all the time, but the good news not so much. And part of, I think it would be good for us to affirm what's happening down at the Community Reintegration Center. And please don't be shy to put something in the comments or to comment in person. Ella?
Good afternoon, Mr. Hutchins. Thank you for your presentation. I would like to connect with you regarding our Chef Start Culinary Program at the Social Development Commission. I'm Ella Dunbar at the Social Development Commission. And we also have a construction trades program called the Absolute Advantage. So I'd just like to connect with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We actually have a culinary program out here as well. So maybe that's something that we can kind of use as a pipeline for the residents once they're released to kind of come right to you, especially after that safe serve certificate, which is really important in recognizing the restaurant industry.
Yeah, we do have a safe serve. Oh, I forget what it's called. Serve safe. Is it?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
We do have that as a part of the Chef Start program also.
Absolutely. Yes, we can connect.
Would you put your contact information in the chat, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll connect you with the program manager, Sharita Lane.
Excellent. Tim?
He's on the agenda too, by the way, so.
Okay.
Tim Schindler?
I just was going to say the struggle. I mean, what you talked about is great work that's being done, but the struggle is the press never puts that out there. And, you know, I think we need to think is how do we unify to get the press to tell the good stories that are happening out there versus the negative stories, because it seems like that's all they want to show out there, but they don't want to show the positiveness that's going on in the communities, and even with the reentry and what's being done in these communities and the partnerships, and even with the sheriff's department and all of that. So
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that Isaiah Holmes had an article just within the last few days highlighting a lot of the good programming out at the Community Reintegration Center. So the word is getting out, and I appreciate that. Very good. Well, thank you. So, so Mandy, I appreciate your text. There's a conflict between recording our meeting and then breaking into breakout rooms. And I wonder, Mandy, if it's possible to stop the recording while we're in the breakout rooms and then restart it once we get back in, or whether that's too complicated. Okay, I'm going to text you. Sorry.
Hey, Connors.
Yes.
While you're doing that, I had my hand up. I had it in the dark shade, but it's, you know, I have a question for Brandon Hutchins. I just wanted to know what is the youngest person being held at the reintegration center?
We do not have any 17-year-olds right here. So 18.
18 and up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sylvester. I'm sorry I missed your hand.
Nope, no problem.
So I just texted Mandy, so 15 minutes. So we'll break up into, let's break up into eight groups. That way it'll be small enough groups. So I'll just give Mandy a few minutes to be able to organize that. I guess we can talk briefly about we are planning a reentry housing conference on Friday, July 21st, which will be at Marquette Alumni Center. That's the same building where Project Return has their annual dinner gala. So Friday, July 21st. So we're going to break into breakout rooms for 15 minutes so that we can get to know each other a bit better, and then we'll come back. So thanks, Mandy.
breakout? I said, how long was I in the breakout?
Well, thank you, everybody, for getting to know each other better. So I'm briefly just going to mention the reentry housing task force that a number of us are on, are planning, like I mentioned, a one-day reentry housing conference on Friday, July 21st from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Marquette Alumni Building. And if you are interested in that at all, if you wanted to reach out to me, we can make sure that we'll keep this whole group up to date, but if you're interested, there's a smaller group of us that are working on the nuts and bolts of that, including Miss Latanya Baker and Bianca Williams. If you want to be part of that smaller working group, just reach out to me or Mandy and we can get you connected. The goal of that reentry housing conference will be to raise awareness about all the reentry resources that are available in our community, discuss what the need is, and try to come up with ideas and plans and strategies for bridging the gap between the resources and the needs. So just make you all aware of that. And now I'm grateful to introduce Miss Bianca Williams from a Cry for Help Foundation that does help to provide housing for people in reentry. So welcome, Bianca.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Connor, for having me. Again, my name is Bianca Williams. I'm the founder of a Cry for Help Foundation. Currently, we're doing reentry for people here in Milwaukee. We have homes dedicated just for men and women, and then I also have a home dedicated to women with children. As of yesterday, we just secured a $20,000 donation from our outside group just to help with these women that's coming out of incarceration that have children, to get them back on their feet and get some stable housing and hopefully get them back with their kids full-time, gain employment and different things like that. We currently have 5 men we're housing. We get a lot of clients from WCS. DOC have sent different clients to us as well. We're working on a big, nice contract with them. And we also have some other smaller groups who refer clients to us. So if anyone have any information, we currently predict that we have an additional 5 houses by July 15th. So it's growing. I love it. If anyone wants any more information, feel free to contact me. My contact number is 414-687-5731. I do work with men, women, and women with children for reentry.
Great, Bianca. And Bianca, would you have the ability to put that information in the chat also?
Yes, I did put my contact information, my email, and my number in the chat as well in the earlier stages.
Great. Any questions for Bianca?
I would love to set up a one-on-one with Bianca. I will contact you through via email or through your phone number contact. I'm interested in one-on-one.
Great to know.
I'll be waiting.
Jose first and then Ella.
Sure. So Bianca, do you work with, well, first of all, what is the rent amount that is for these homes?
So currently the rent amount for just a single person is $550 a month with $100 security deposit that's non-refundable. We also provide 1 bed, a dresser, a starter kit with hygiene, and a starter kit with just some basic things. Some people need socks, some people need just deodorant and hygiene products.
And another question, do you guys work with, let's say, for instance, SDC helping pay for the rent?
Yes, we do.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Now, our rents, I do want to clarify, the rents at STC are for COVID, the rent assistance, is that what you were referring to? Our
Yes,
rent assistance is for COVID-related circumstances only. They're restricted.
okay.
Okay.
Great. So Ella, did you have a question for Bianca?
Yes, I was just interested in terms of how your, what your capacity is. And where are you? You may have mentioned where you're located. I may have missed it.
So
And
we currently have scatter houses. We have 11 doors. So now we working with just pretty much anyone with SDC have covered some clients' rent for at least 3 months. I know during COVID, they also covered rent for families as well. And I just recently got a voucher as of Monday from SDC as well.
Okay, so it's probably payable to the landlord. It's not, yeah, it would be payable to the landlord. We do have funds still, so.
I'm the landlord, I own the property.
Yeah, it's the funds that we have, all funds are payable to the landlord once the tenant is approved.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So another question I have for you, Bianca, is my understanding is most of the places that people are in a bedroom, but they're in a shared space. And I wonder if people move on from your homes once they gain more stability, and if there are people on this call who might have more longer term apartments available for you to refer folks to.
Yes, so I'm also connected with a list of landlords who's willing to work with a lot of these clients who have been renting rooms for me, and I just give them a recommendation. Hey, this client been with me for 6 months, never been late, and I'm kind of vouching or sticking out my neck for those clients. And I also have some donors who's interested in paying or covering the first month's rent whenever they've been in with me for at least 3 to 6 months.
Excellent. Excellent. And we appreciate that you've attended the home to stay monthly reentry resource fair, because starter housing is very difficult for a significant number of people coming home.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we appreciate the work that you're doing, Bianca. Any other questions or comments for Bianca? Okay. The next item on the agenda is updates on task forces and aligned initiatives. Reentry employment. And Adam, if you could share about the home to stay, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you, Connor, and I guess good afternoon, everybody. We will be holding our next home to stay reentry resource and job fair on June 7th at Partners in Hope from noon to 2. It's the same location this reentry council meeting will be held in person next month that Connor spoke about earlier. Again, our address is 324 West North Avenue. Last month, we had a full house of reentry service providers and almost 100 justice impacted individuals come through looking for resources at the behest of their agents. So a lot of people coming through. We definitely need some of the individuals within this room or this meeting rather to sign up as vendors, because there's so many good resources here. Kind of to your first point, Connor, we also need more employers that have living wage job openings available to attend. We have some individuals that come and hire people on the spot, so we need more. And we're not opposed to certain temp agencies, but they have to be screened first, and we have to ensure that they do provide living wage jobs, because that's important to us. Secondly, I noticed on your agenda here, Connor, you want me to update on the BJA grant. We're definitely in the 11th hour. It was up till 2 a.m. last night writing. Essentially, we're collaborating with the CJC, United Way, DOC, UWM, Marquette. Ken Gales is helping us out. I think he's still on this call. And essentially, we're filing this as a precursor to the central door using the home to stay model, and we're adding 2 unique components. One, we're budgeting for a transportation vehicle called MORE, which is an acronym for the Mobile Office of Reentry Education. And the goal is to bring resources to those specifically living within transitional housing facilities, as well as to bring them each to the home to stay events. Secondly, I need to thank Neil Thorson for the assist with this. We will be creating decks of playing cards. We are calling Reentry Royale, deck of second chances, where each card will highlight one reentry service provider, the services they offer, and their contact information. And we want to distribute these decks of cards into each day room of the county jail, minimum security centers, and the CRC if you're interested. Dodd and Hutchins, I know you were here earlier. If you've ever been incarcerated, you most likely have played cards. And if you could think about it, you're playing cards and at the same time, looking at your hand, you're familiarizing yourself with every reentry organization within this city. So we're just trying to think of different unique ways of getting information inside so that when people are released, they're just not starting from scratch. So I'll include the vendor sign up link in the chat. I just sent it right now. So please sign up if you're on this meeting. You can provide services to those that are formerly incarcerated, because there's a lot coming through and they have all sorts of needs. So definitely appreciate you signing up if you can.
That's great. The card idea is fantastic, Adam. So if you want to be featured, if you want you or your agency to be featured on one of the cards, reach out to Adam, and probably
Absolutely.
the Ace of Spades is going to be a premium card, I suppose.
It is. I was thinking about free earlier. It's gotta be the queen for our ladies at free. So
Sure. Okay. Excellent. Well, good luck with the grant, Adam. We hope that we as a community are successful in securing that grant. So
appreciate it. Thank you, Connor.
next items on the agenda is upcoming events. Anybody want to share about upcoming events for the good of the group?
I will, Connor.
Great.
Forgive my giggling little friend behind me.
Who do you have with you today, Peggy?
Oh, this is my grandson Elias. He just got out of school. Hi, Sylvester. Yeah.
Welcome,
he's watching
Elias.
Jumping Spider. So thank you. Free is going to be having on June 29th. At a location to be announced. We're working with Emilio to hopefully have it at Turner Hall. But we're going to be doing a meet and greet where you can come and learn about what Free does. And then we're doing a documentary screening of the documentary Tutwiler. As one of the things that Free has been working on this year is establishing a Wisconsin prison doula program, outlawing shackling, and working on some issues of dignity for incarcerated women. And so we want everyone in the state of Wisconsin to know what a doula is and what they do and why it's important that women in prison don't birth alone. And so we want to get everybody up to speed, and we'll be doing that through the meet and greet on June 29th. So save the date. Well, it'll be from 6 o'clock to 8 at night, and then we will then let you know where the location will be.
Okay, come on.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Peggy. Anything else that anyone wants to share with the group?
Yeah. Also, what up, Peggy? Yeah, the Believer for Change will be hosting a youth mental health forum on June the 24th. It will be held at the Silver Mill Mall, 6207 North Titonia. I did forward the flyer to Connor to send out to everyone. The forum purpose is with all the violence and everything going on in our community and the continuing political apparatus talking about they don't know what to do. I believe one of the first things we have to do as a community is to listen to the young people who's behind all of this pressure that is spilling out into violence in our community. And so the whole forum is based up on a two-table forum, one with the young people who have these issues, and then the political and the professional who have the answer. to bring them together and let's address some of the trauma that is leading to serious mental health issues in the community, especially the Black and brown community, where most, I know in the Black community, mental health is just like taboo, you know, because there's very little understanding on what mental health is and the sincere need to address it. So we're inviting everyone to come out because this is an everyone problem. This is a city problem, state problem with our young peoples who are, you know, seeing their friends shot dead. And, you know, so this here is a forum to just listen to the young peoples and hear what they're going through and finding ways that we can bring some of the resources and solutions to change our community for the better. Again, that would be June the 24th at the Silver Mill Mall. The time would be from 12 to 3 p.m.
Thank you, Sylvester. And I'll send that flyer out to the group.
And I did include my information in the chat. If anyone have any questions, please feel free to call, send me an email or whatever. Thanks, Connor.
Excellent. Anybody else want to share for the good of the group? Brian?
So I just shared a flyer with you, Connor. We have our entry-level manufacturing training, an informational session next week on June 1st, Thursday at 10 o'clock here. You know, we're going to have multiple of them because the training will begin in August. But if you can share that with the group and the group share it with their networks, we're always looking for, you know, new people to serve. And, you know, it's a 3-week training, get them some certifications that are in manufacturing, and we get them in front of employers. And I just had a group, I was telling the small group, I had a bunch of veterans that were on it as well. And, you know, four of the guys that just got employed making 22 to 24 bucks an hour. So
good. Thank you,
there's
Brian.
opportunity out there if you just get them in front of us.
Very good. I appreciate that. I'll share that with the wider group. And so anybody joined the meeting who is new to the Reentry Council but would like to introduce themselves? We did that at the beginning, but I know people join at different times. You're welcome to do that now if you just want to raise your hand. We have a few more minutes. Any other things that people want to share with this group? Okay, so at the risk of beating a dead horse, next month we're meeting in person, and I hope that we fill the room down at 324 West North Avenue on Wednesday, the 28th of June. And the Reentry Council is not confined to just us on this call. If you know of others who are in the reentry space and who have something to bring to the work that we're doing together, please invite them to the Reentry Council meetings. It's an open. The community is a very important partner in this work. So,
hey Connor, this is Dashiell. If I may, can you share your story about appearing in Urban Milwaukee this week? I thought that was a very nice article.
So you mean the one about the programming at the Reintegration Center, Dashiell?
Yes.
Yes. So there's a very good, and I'll send the article around. There's a very good article by Isaiah Holmes about all of the good work being done down at the Community Reintegration Center and how people are being lifted up and helped while they're in there and afterwards. And so, sure, I appreciate that. It was a positive story about a positive thing that's happening in our community. So Isaiah Holmes, who works for Milwaukee News Network, he's very open to shining a light on good things that are happening in our community. If you know of things, don't hesitate to contact him. Tim?
Oh, I just was going to ask a question because, and
Sure.
Sylvester, you'll remember this. we create a youth program, and a lot of the kids that we are working with have, you know, been involved in the juvenile justice system. And one thing when we talked about trauma, a bunch brought up the issue that trying to find someone that looks like them. So if anybody has resources in the Black and Brown community for therapists, that I'd be grateful to forward to me. So that way we could give to the youth that we're servicing too.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Ken, did you want to mention briefly any of the upcoming community building workshops or Dashel?
This is Ken. Thanks, Connor. At this point, we're still trying to get the exact dates set up. So hopefully by next meeting in June, I will have flyers and all sorts of fun things to hand out to people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ken. And Bob, did you want to mention at all about Circles of Support?
Well, I will kick in for all of the Circles. Project Return has been working really hard. Peggy and I were just talking about that, working on in a variety of different circles, some of them in person, some of them are Zoom. There's a number of people here that work with them. Sylvester works with one specifically for sex offenders. I work with one that's trying to do family support. We're always asking people to help us advertise, promote, let people know that the circles happen. When we get people in there, it really does seem to help them. And it's a safe place for them to talk over what's happening. So Connor, you have the flyer, the latest.
Yes.
We just
I'll
one.
I'll
So
send that out. And Sylvester, did you want to add anything?
Actually, I chair two circles. One is the register circle. We stray away from negative language. We don't identify individual as sex offender. That's the crime that they committed. And the other one is the First Unitarian Circle, which I also chair monthly. So, you know, those two circles are going strong, and we're looking forward to starting a new circle here on this side of town, over here on 27th in what is it? 4201 North 27th Street in our office soon. So we'll be keeping everybody posted on that circle. It would involve young peoples.
Thank you, Sylvester. And Peggy.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Jeanette. Hi guys, I'm back. I will be holding a circle tomorrow down at the Workforce Sanders building on 14 locations for women, doing reentry circle tomorrow for support. All is welcome. It's going to be at 5:30. We will be offering food. And again, it's going to be at the Workforce Sanders building on the first floor at 5:30. So
Very good. That's
Connor,
yes.
I would add, anybody that's not familiar with the idea of circle support and wants more information, please contact any one of us. We'd be happy to tell you about it. It's been a great way to, well, do a lot of things and do a lot of work for a lot of different people. And, you know, we'd really like to share the idea with anybody that's interested.
Thanks, Bob. Excellent. So we'd like to finish with a one-word evaluation about how you're feeling the meeting went. If you want to put that in the chat, that would be great. And I appreciate that we'll start on time and finish on time. And appreciate everybody's attendance and the good work that each of you is doing to make our community more peaceful, safer, and more prosperous. So thank you for all the work that you do.
Connor, if you just got a second.
Sure.
I just got a question. So This ongoing meeting, it looked like when I joined this thing, it said that it was a series.
Yes.
So is this does this go out as a calendar invite?
It does, yeah, Brian, and you're on the email now, so it's typically on the fourth Wednesday of each month from 2 to 4, excuse me, 2 to 3:30.
Okay.
And we've been on Zoom for the last couple of years, but next month will be the first time that we will meet in person at 3rd and North at Community Warehouse Partners in Hope. But
you'll still send me something that I can accept that it'll go on my calendar, right?
Yes, I will. Yep.
Okay.
I'll send that to you.
Otherwise it just gets lost in the shuffle and.
Sure. For sure, I'll do that.
All right, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, God bless.
God bless you too.